Bitcoin miners to buy now. Which Bitcoin miners are going to do well in this next Bitcoin bull run that's coming up for the next year or year and a half? And how do I know when to get in? Are there some that we can get into right now? That's what we're going to talk about today on Crypto Intel. My name is Max, and stay tuned because I'm going to give you 2 or 3 setups that are ready to take right in the next day or two. Let's get started. Okay, so today what I want to do is take a look at some mining stocks for miners of Bitcoin and see which ones might have some setup coming up and which ones I think are going to be great buys for this next Bitcoin bull run. So these are basically, miners are proxies for Bitcoin. And the way that we know that is because, of course, miners are going to be mining Bitcoin. They're going to make more or less money depending on what the hash rate is and also depending on where the Bitcoin price is. And usually a good time to get into miners is right before or right during the beginning of the bull run for Bitcoin. And I can show you this just by looking at where the price action went in the last bull run. So you can see here, I'm on Bitcoin now, and if I draw a price model from the bottom of where Bitcoin was in 2020 up to the top, you see Bitcoin had a roughly 1,260% gain. Now, if I go over and I look at some miners, let's look at Riot, for instance. And again, if I go from the bottom all the way to the top in the last cycle, this had over a 9,000% gain. If we go to Marathon, we see this one had 13,000% gain from the bottom to the top, much higher than Bitcoin. So let's look at one more. Let's look at CleanSpark, and we can see CleanSpark had an 1,800% gain. Even that was more than Bitcoin. So miners in general are gonna move up much faster in the Bitcoin bull run than Bitcoin itself. And the other advantage to miners is that it's on the stock exchange. So you can use derivative tools like options so that you can buy miners and increase or decrease your position, even protect your position a little bit more than just buying the stock outright. You can also do covered calls and so forth. Now, some of the miners are very small and it's not going to be worth doing options. But later on, we will do a video on how to use options on the miners. But for now, let's just take a look at some of the top miners and which ones might be important to invest in this cycle. And just to start off, let's take a look. I want to shout out to Invest Answers. He did a very detailed study on miners and looked at things like the amount of Bitcoin held, the hash rate, the market cap of the hashes, the production, the margins, liability. He took in a whole bunch of different things and he came up with a final score. And these are some of the miners that he thinks are going to fare the best, are the strongest in terms of fundamentals. CleanSpark, Cypher, Bitfarms, Riot, and so forth. So let's take a look at some of these and we can see where the price action is and which ones might be ready to pop or ready to invest in. So let's first take a look at CleanSpark. Let me move this out of the way here. And again, what I've done is just drawn some support and resistance lines. You can see that we had a low back in somewhere around the beginning of this year, 2023. There was an initial nice breakout right here at $7, and now we're moving up. So with CleanSpark, I wouldn't be getting in right now. I'd wait till it gets up to this level here, around the $13 level. If it can break through this resistance, this is a big resistance, then there's going to be a much bigger play right here, somewhere around here. From here to here, from this break of resistance up to the next one, that's a 50 to 60% gain. So for clean spark, I would wait till it gets up to this resistance and then look for a 1, 2, 3 breakout. In other words, it'll touch it, it might pull back a little bit and then break through. And that's when I would enter on clean spark. Let's look at cipher mining. And again, cipher mining is at a good spot right now to think about an entry. You see, it's trying to break through. It's trying to break through this resistance, which is a nice resistance level you can see here. The next one up, if it breaks through here, the next one up is going to have a nice play. So what I would do, it broke through today, it went up, it's come back down right now, and it's trying to stay atop this resistance level here. Let me just, here. So if we put on our longing tool, we go here, I would put the stop below this low right here and bring, this is going to be our target up here. This is a 6-to-1 ratio. So what I would do is wait until the end of today, this being Thursday, December 21st, when I record this video. Wait till the end of the day. If this stays above this level, you can enter in here, have your stop loss right here where I have it, and take it from there. This one I think is going to be a good one going forward right now as a setup. Now let's take a look at Bitfarms. This is another one on the list that could have a nice setup brewing here. So again, you can see. Let's just range out here. Let me draw a line. You can see where the levels are, and right here, again, we've gone above this support line right here, and you can see it's a pretty long support line. Okay, a pretty long accumulation period. So let me just make it a little bit bigger. We've broken above it. Now we're kind of dancing on it here. So again, you can if this stays above this line today, you can enter on this break right here. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. I would put my stop loss beneath it right here, and then you can see there's a nice potential. There's pretty much clear sky between about 279 and about 420. That could be a 10 to 1 ratio here. So you're risking about 5 to 6% to have a 50% gain. That's a nice ratio. Bitfarms is another one that has a good setup brewing. Let's take a look at one more Mara. All of these, I think you can kind of pick your poison here, but all of these are going to fare well in the next year and a half as Bitcoin enters into its full bull cycle. And again, this one it broke. It broke out of this resistance level. It's trying to come back and test. It hasn't yet. So you could see if you did it now and you did a long, you'd have to place your stop way down here. That's pretty high. And here's your target. That's really not what I would do. What I would rather do is wait and see if this pulls down and retests this as a support. If it retests this as a support, then what you can do is you would buy there. You could put your stop right about here, and then you would have a nicer risk to reward, about a 4 to 1. Okay, so what I would be looking for on Marathon would be a retest of this support line right here. Let's look at one more Riot. Now Riot, it's kind of mid-range here. So again, this one it had a nice break. It went almost all the way up to the next support level, and then it's come back down. Now it's trying to move up. So with Riot, again, I would wait until we have a break. This would be where I would look to enter, around $21 or so. And again, if you do enter, there, you can see that, let me draw a line here. The next real resistance, I mean, this is going to be, if you wait till it breaks this resistance line and it goes up to this right here, that can be an 80% move, just that, okay? So for Riot, I would enter in after a break of this resistance line right here. So that's all for today. We wanted to take a look at, these are the top 4 or 5 miners that I think are going to do well. They're positioned well. They have good fundamentals. They have good price action levels. So these are some that I would take a look at. There are a couple that have some buys that you can do right away within the next day or two. That's all for today. If you like the content, please give us a like and subscribe at the bottom, and I'll see you in the next one.